popped my egg. Here right beside us is the Norwegian sun. And then here are the ships. That one's the sun. That one is ours. And this is where they dropped us off to be picked up. This is so cool. It reminds me of Bass Pro Shops. This place is so cool. This is so cool. Okay, so far I really like it. I'm not gonna lie, I really like Ketchikan, and it's only just the beginning. No wonder people say that this is their favorite.
Wood products into pulp, to be made into paper and cardboard and other products. The Ketchikan Pulp Company was the biggest pulp company in the United States. It began operations in 1954 and was a major economic driver for Ketchikan and the surrounding area, providing good jobs and prosperity. It was the #1 employer for Ketchikan. And then in 1997, its parent company abruptly shut down operations. 1,000 people lost their jobs, including 500 mill workers. Over 2,000 people moved away. School enrollments dropped, leading to layoffs for teachers and staff. Businesses reported up to 30% losses, which then led to more job losses. So the closing of the Ketchikan Pulp Company had a real negative ripple effect on the local economy. These structures up ahead are electrostatic precipitators. Their function was to remove pollutants from the plant's emissions. And those gray silos up there is where they would store pulp. This is a work in progress now. They're planning on turning this into a visitor plaza with shops for getting a sandwich, a cup of coffee, retail items, gift items. It'll also be made into a historical site. And hopefully they'll pave this area to keep down the mud and the dust. Okay, here we are. Your deckhands await you, and they will assist you from here. So enjoy your tour.
You got it on your arm.
I would put it on to disrespect the eagle there.
It's all good. Big old smiles.
Wearing a grease hat.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, just didn't want to put her hands
Thank you.
ready.
Thank you. You know how to ride or... This is actually kind of cool.
She's so adorable.
I wouldn't want to go backwards.
Well, you're gonna have to.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
My car comes right up to here.
Oh, where the line is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
You gonna see all the dead salmon?
so tired.
I love the enthusiasm.
Bye. It feels like we're like the end of it's gonna be in the water. Oh my god.
Oh no, your face changed. She's like, no.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. This is how steep it is. She could definitely.
I was just gonna say that. But the tide will be coming in, so it'll be fine when we get back. But
coming from up here. So that noise right now, what animal is that?
That I think is a cruise ship.
Oh,
One of the bells.
that's a weird one.
Yeah.
So those are moon jellyfish. This is so cool. I feel like I'm on like an official boat. Well, I am, but you know what I mean. This place is cool and they're so nice. And they gave us binoculars.
First,
Actually,
this is a
this is really cool,
non-smoking
too. This is in the
excursion,
window.
and that does include vape and e-cigarettes. It's an unlikely event. There might be ways that we can all work together, so of course follow any direction. This excursion to help us out by pointing. On the cabin, we have life jackets
And then
underneath the
this-
fold-up bench-style seats,
whoops.
and on the upper
This
deck, we
is
have
our-
life jackets underneath the exterior bench up,
That one's the
up there.
sun, that's the encore.
We are
I
going to
don't
be
know
taking a
what
brief
that
moment to
is.
demonstrate that clasp to the front. Now pulling on that long black strap and make sure that just to consider, we are out here on the Pacific Ocean. Say from a wake thrown off by a cruise ship or a fishing boat crossing our path. On our upper deck to 21 passengers at any given time. With our vessel's stability out here on
Bears
the
are
water.
out.
So
Sorry.
please check in with them if you'd like to navigate between the lower deck to the upper deck, and we'll make sure that there's capacity up there for you. But outside of that, we invite you to relax and enjoy yourself. Welcome to Ketchikan, certainly on this beautiful morning that we're having here this time of year. This is about as good as we can hope for it to get. My name is Captain Kyle, speaking to you from the wheelhouse, where you are certainly welcome to join me up here at any point throughout the tour. I'm going to be operating this vessel this morning, providing some of the narration and actually showing you my hometown, where I'm very proud to say that I was raised. I've been on these waters my entire life, and I live here in Ketchikan year-round. Taking a moment to introduce you to my fantastic crew. Joining us from Florida for the summer, we have our deckhand Ian. Grateful to have him up here with us. We also have our deckhand Mads. Now, Mads is joining us here in Ketchikan for the summer from California. They're going to be looking after you throughout our tour today. Coming around in just a moment to offer you a complimentary beverage of your choice. With us today, we have coffee, tea, water, assorted Coke and Pepsi products. And we're going to start things off with our signature drink, the hot chocolate, the ancestral and territorial lands of the Tontaquan and the Sanyaquan Tlingit people. Now we're going to talk more about these.
We're on Ward Cove.
The Ward Cove was glacially carved. It's made a fjord by definition. There are many along this latitude. Where this part of the planet was buried under a massive ice shelf during the last ice age. We'll talk more about that later on. Basically, that receding ice carved out this bedrock. We can see the steep rock face here off to our right. That is an example of glacial carvings. Good old Ketchikan of 24 vertical feet. An incredibly dynamic shoreline. You see, when the water moves in, so does the ocean life. They get nice and cozy and settled and left there to become the buffet for the eagles. So keep your eyes to the treetops, certainly, but also along the coastline, because we just never know what we're going to find out here or where we're going to find it. Now, for your convenience, there are binoculars. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some
We're now leaving
information from a
Ward
local
Cove and going to
storyteller here in
different-
Ketchikan. A good friend of mine, actually, by the name of Jack Finnegan, who's going to talk to us today about the American bald eagle.
Nests along our route and the densest population of American bald eagles in the world, bald eagles were nearly driven to extinction by 1940. When adopted as the national symbol in the late 18th century, there may have been as many as 100,000 eagles nesting across the country. But due in part to loss of habitat and related loss of food sources, these numbers began to decline. Worse, a misperception took hold that eagles were marauders who threatened chickens, lambs, and other livestock. In 1917, in territorial Alaska, representatives of the salmon industry and the then thriving coastal fox farming industry, when Alaska gained statehood in 1959, the federal bald eagle detention. American bald eagles generally mate for life, though if one mate dies, the other will usually take a new mate.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just ahead of us and to our right-hand side, we're going to have an opportunity here in just a moment to check in on an eagle's nest. Now, it is currently obstructed by branches that are built that way on purpose, but I'll give you a couple points of reference, and then, of course, Ian and Mads can help you get your eyes in on it. But at the base of the trees on the far right-hand side of this island, we can see a large solar panel. The solar panel is actually doing something today. That's lovely. But if you move leftward of that object to about the middle of the island, there's two gray circular TV satellite dishes stacked on top of each other. Go directly between that TV satellite dish, there's two of them there in the middle of the island, and that solar panel. Go directly between them and right up to the tops of the trees. You're going to see a tall, flat top tree. Its branches are longer off to the left-hand side, much shorter off to the right. And that nest is about a third of the way down on this flat top tree. And again, it is concealed under a single layer of foliage at the moment, but it will be coming into view here momentarily. So ask Ian or Mads if you need any help spotting it. Together twig sticks and branches to in fact make the largest nest of any other. It's again this nest that we have here.
So pretty.
It's about 3 or 4 feet wide. We're going to back up here for just a moment. Let's get one last look at this nest before the current pushes us around this island here. Standing on top of a 10-story tall building, looking down at the ground below, and being able to read a text message on a cell phone over someone's shoulder. It's incredibly good eyesight. The family that lives on this island off to our right, they actually put a camera for bonfires. Families with their kids. Watching them run around in the rain and then swim in the 43-degree water. You know, around here you learn to enjoy things in the cold and in the rain that you wouldn't normally consider. Otherwise you might not do much at all. But what we have off to our right-hand side here is a public access beach known as Refuge Cove. It was given its name in the late 1700s by a British explorer that we'll talk about later on. But what we see here, a little bit of sand, but mostly barnacle, seaweed-covered rocks. This is all metamorphic rock, and it's pretty much what you get here in southeast Alaska. It's what all the islands are made up of. This metamorphic rock was brought up through the crust as the Pacific Plate crossed over a volcanic hotspot some 240 or 500 million years ago.
Wow.
And it brought up all of these little islands. Now the Pacific Plate that southeast Alaska rests on, it still pushes into the North American Plate at a rate of about 10 inches per year. So we still get seismic activity. This is actually the northernmost extension of the San Andreas Fault. California is part of the Ring of Fire as well that encompasses the Pacific Ocean. One day we'll get those soft sandy beaches, I'd say maybe another 60 million years. But looking around us, in any direction really, it's no great secret here in Ketchikan. But we're said to have over 17 million acres of forest here along the southeast Alaska. Some of these trees in this area are said to be
So this is the largest
at least 1,000 years old. And this forest actually boasts having more wildlife per acre than any other forest on Earth. And if you actually take into account the biomass that's located inside of the muskeg that you find in these forests, that is technically more wildlife per acre than even the Amazon. But nonetheless, just ahead of us and off to our right-hand side, we can see evidence along that mountainside of the bygone timber industry that of course supported Ketchikan here for so many decades. These are places where the trees were harvested and cut down for the pulp mill back in Ward Cove where our tour began. And they're all at various ages and stages of regrowth as this forest returns to its former glory. But we call these areas clear cuts.
The Tongass National Rainforest is closed to timber harvesting. And for every 1 acre that is scheduled for a future timber harvest, 10 acres are designated by Congress as a wilderness. Alder makes good firewood and is favored by many people for smoking salmon.
He said that everything here for sale
Sitka
is
spruce and
local,
western
and they
hemlock
try to
are
be
both
as
fir
local
trees
as
that
they
grow
can
in
get. The
tightly
only
packed
one
stands,
that
which provide the
isn't
shade that
is
is
like this
craved
stuff
by
here.
cedar trees. Take a moment to observe these colorful totem poles against the backdrop of this island's rising altitudes and thick green forest. Then be sure to make use of the onboard binoculars to take in some
So
of their
that
finer
is
details.
the tallest
You may spot
totem
representations
pole
of
in this
eagles,
park. He said it's
ravens,
about 50,
beavers,
55 feet.
bears,
I
and
think he said
wolves.
55 feet.
You may find faces within faces, or eyes upon wings, or fish in human-like hands. For the indigenous people of this region, whose languages were historically unwritten, totem poles told stories and served other purposes as well. Whereas one totem pole might relate a clan or family's history, a mortuary pole could serve as a memorial to a fallen loved one and was sometimes used to inter their remains. Other poles account for the origin of world phenomena. There are even ridicule poles, which are meant to shame a clan or individual for an unresolved offense. Though many totem poles tell stories, efforts to read them are a departure from Alaska Native custom that was misunderstood by the Civilian Conservation Corps, who, as part of the New Deal in the 1930s, demanded exact replicas of visually striking totems they had observed in abandoned native villages. This request for hand-carved totems was met with some suspicion and even disbelief by natives, who, in the previous decades, had experienced a sustained effort by settlers to stamp out their traditional customs, including art forms, and even the speaking of native tongues. But after lengthy negotiations within their respective communities, the elder carvers who had been commissioned and the younger carvers who would apprentice beside them agreed that it was better to restore these former practices, and thus began the carving of the poles for Totem Bight. Historically, an intermingling of Tlingit and Haida totem poles, as we see here, would have been unthinkable. Their form line styles are similar, but Haida figures tend to overlap and interconnect more than Tlingit figures, which are generally more isolated.
Who would actually use the waterways as their main route of transportation. These totem poles were never idolized or worshipped in any regard. They were only ever there to help tell stories. These ancient tribes were an oral culture, so they had no formal writing systems. So everything was passed down by word of mouth, and the truly significant stories, they could
He said that no totem pole is going to be the exact same
keep their art
as another.
form alive. These master
Even if it's
carvers,
the
they
same
could
story.
pass on their skills to future generations of carvers. The process for creating the paints was actually very labor intensive and involved many members of these ancient tribes. It was traditionally the responsibility of all of the women of these villages to spend their days chewing on raw salmon eggs, and they would take turns spitting these raw salmon eggs into large communal bowls.
That's great.
Now, I'm not sure who the brave souls were who first discovered this, but it was actually quite brilliant. Because if you spend enough time chewing on raw salmon eggs, at a certain point your saliva is going to act like a binding agent. Now that oil base will actually soak into and stain the wood of the red and yellow cedar. It would not wash off in our abundant rainfall. It's going to be off to our right-hand side momentarily.
There they are. I didn't even see that.
But most significantly, they found that the red and yellow cedar actually had a naturally occurring fungicide on the trunk that made it less likely to rot in our abundant rainfall. And turquoise, this was actually the most rare and unique color of them all. It was from materials not readily found here in southeast Alaska. It was actually more predominant from tribes that inhabited the areas of the Pacific Northwest, the island of Vancouver, the Oregon coast, or tribes that were further up north in the interior. But turquoise came from copper oxide. And the fact that it was present on totem poles here in southeast Alaska, where the material wasn't readily available, it actually demonstrates to us the vast expanse of trade networks that these ancient tribes participated in. might be 1,000 years old. Essentially a continuation of the rock that we can see here right along the coast. 1,000 feet thick.
He said that
Some
this entire
12,000
region
years
used to be
ago, and that
believed
massive
it was
amount of
actually
ice
like
compacted down all of the geography here, and that smoothed everything over. But also that tremendous amount of ice would have displaced the sea levels, and if we were here 10,000 years ago, we would actually be floating upon a waterway between 150 and 350 feet lower than what we're experiencing this morning. Now currently we're in 206 feet of water. So perhaps 10,000 years ago, this might have been the coastline. We'd be looking up to the ridge line on the mountainsides where these homes now reside along the coast. So it just would have looked very different back then. To support the Alaskan economy by supporting small local Alaskan businesses. Been kind enough to bring us some, do an excellent job with it. And we top this silver salmon with a lingonberry garnish. Now a lingonberry is a fancy high bush cranberry from around here. And this is actually out of a place called Talkeetna, Alaska, a small company that operates there. We also have our signature smoked salmon dip. Now this is prepared on board today using a pink salmon. Now pink as opposed to silver is excellent for dips and spreads. And truth be told, we serve this salmon dip with some Ritz crackers and some wheat thins. And frankly, we've not figured out how to source Ritz crackers or wheat thins from Alaska yet, but we're working on it. So that'll be our only non-Alaskan item. But we also have a very local component to our snack, brought over by our good friends at Foraged and Found right here in Ketchikan. We have some bull kelp pickles. Now this is harvested from bull kelp brought right out of these waters here in Ketchikan. Bull kelp, if you're not familiar, it's a highly regenerative form of ocean vegetation that can grow as tall as 2 feet in a single day. So a very sustainable resource. And some great news for our friends over at Foraged and Found. Actually, just a couple weeks ago, they got picked up by Whole Foods. So they're going to start to be distributed on the West Coast markets of Whole Foods stores with their bull kelp pickles. And finally, we have some Chugach Dark Sea Salt Chocolate. This is from a chocolate company out of Anchorage. Sourced with sea salt brought right out of Prince William Sound. So please let Ian or Matt know if you have any food allergies or restrictions. We'd like to try our best to accommodate that with some snack alternatives if possible. Otherwise, they'll be bringing that snack. Go ahead and slow down when that happens. But if you don't have your sea legs, then we usually advise guests to just remain seated or certainly take hold of a handrail as the waves cross our bow. But I'll update you when that happens, and then we'll continue onward. Thanks.
And do either of you want to try the salmon? We also have these. And I mean, what do you think you'd like? Cheese and crackers. Or a drink. Check. There you go.
She said it's safe.
What's that? I think they're pickles. Woo!
the rest of that wake from that cruise ship.
Look at these waves.
I'm gonna do this. So I smile.
To make the news, that was just another day at the office here in Ketchikan. So, a lighthouse built any different than a two-story cement bunker with not able to withstand the elements. It's still an active aid to navigation. Can be seen about 13 nautical miles in any direction. Guillemots, these little black birds with white spots on their wings, they have a nest on the backside of this island. Even the common seagull out here looks more majestic in its natural habitat. Certainly make sure that you take. You get transient pods passing through from time to time, working their way down from Juneau this time of year over to the southern coast of California and the islands of Hawaii, where they'll spend their winters. But they stop here along the way and they teach their young calves how to bubble feed right against this reef. So again, keep a sharp eye if you see anything that looks like whale activity. Definitely let us know.
Around 1 in 4 of lighthouse excursions outings have the good fortune of encountering one of the largest and heaviest animals on Earth, those graceful giants of the deep, the humpback whale. And long pectoral fins, which can grow to 15 feet, the longest appendage of any animal on Earth, and it can rise from 6 to 20 feet into the air from cool blowholes which are divided by a septum to set their bubble wings. Humpbacks are one of 16 species of baleen whales. Baleen is a filter feeding system inside the mouth.
He said the whale can take in 15,000 gallons of water. Oh my god, they just said that
Females
the
typically breed every 2
female
or 3 years,
or
with a
whales or
gestation
something
period
are
of 50
polyamorous.
weeks,
They even said
at
it.
the end of which a single
They have
calf
multiple
will be
partners.
birthed at an average length of 10 to 15 feet. 2 dozen men from Ketchikan rushed to stake claims on Gravina when word spread that oil had been found on the island. Samples were analyzed and all claims were subsequently abandoned. Enterprising souls used a large deposit of clay they found on Gravina to create the Ketchikan Brick and Tile Company, who marketed their findings as glacial mud. This business promptly folded, but a homesteader on the island made use of the clay to fill her own pocket, so this wasn't a total loss. An effort in the 1960s by the state to populate the island with elk was upended when the 8 calves that had been captured on Kodiak and brought to Gravina trampled a homesteader's garden and were subsequently shot. An inventive spirit of people who choose to call this place home, but also indicates the tremendous challenge of succeeding in this unforgiving wilderness.
It's bright.
He had numerous interactions with the native people he encountered, including the future sailors, to Alaska, and to the war.
Well, as we look across the channel and off to our left-hand side, we can more clearly see the southern coast of Revillagigedo Island, the homes along the shoreline, mountains in the background and the foreground showing evidence of that bygone timber industry. Now, the way that this particular legend goes is that some villagers were up over this creek where they had this fishing camp many centuries ago, and they were looking back down over this camp and they actually realized that this creek that they were catching their fish on spread off into 2 separate directions. Think of us fondly back here in Ketchikan in our short but sweet time together, along the way with a few Ritz crackers and slices of cheddar cheese for the next time they stop by Ketchikan, so certainly appreciate your consideration there. Now, we are going to...
His hat.
This feature right here as well. How's that? Brakes on. Now, where's the guy that's gonna give me that shirt?
Oh, he said he was gonna give it up there, I think. I don't know.
Might be up there.
I look like a tall person. Today is definitely a good day. Good excursion, good local, nice people.
Everybody goes backwards. You can go too and get in it, and
Yeah.
I'll do a selfie of everybody.
Let's video it.
Much further.
Oh,
Look at them go.
I know.
Miserable, I bet.
Yeah, well, actually, the tours couldn't go out.
I know when
Oh,
we
really?
Even had
I like the ones on.
log broken off and 3.5 feet.
He said he found this on a landslide and that this tree is like 500 years old. How old did you say it was again? He said
527 years.
Nice.
We could never get this one.
I know. That is so
That's being
nice.
broken.
They're singing Betty and the Jets. I love this song. Hi. Hi.
Take your protein pills and put your helmet on.
We're on the other side. We,
Pretty day.
yeah, finally, right? We are being driven backwards. It's colder on this side than that side. That's where we departed for an excursion. This is where you get dropped off for the deck and go inside that building. It's colder over here than over there. And there is our very big ship. And here we have the ships side by side. And they have this on the screen. I like how it reflects. So today is our last day in Alaska. We went to Ward Cove, which is right near Ketchikan. And it was so lovely. It really was. Such a nice boat ride with just such nice people. Like, there was a person on there, I videoed it, her name is Faith, purple hair and stuff, and she's just so nice and fun and like quirky, and I love it. And like having fun, and she's actually on our ship, and we really hope that we run into her again. I actually, when we were shopping in the port center, whatever you would call it, the one that looked like Bass Pro Shop, we were looking around and I saw Lemon Duo, so that was that earlier too, and it's exciting. I love them so dearly. I hope we honestly just stay friends, you know what I mean? Like, we followed each other on Instagram. We finally have signal here, like actual signal. Like, I was actually able to post on Snapchat on that boat ride from earlier and stuff, so it's just nice to, like, I know the controversy if you want to kind of just go off the grid or times, but sometimes when I unwind, even if it's just for bedtime, like, I just want to go on social medias, which of course I do not have to do, but some of the movies that they're playing that are free on our TVs are repeats or not that good, so I guess we'll find out. It is cute. I haven't been down here before. Okay.
There's nobody here.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what time these people open.
We're not gonna eat today.
I don't know. You can stay right there if you want. I just want better view. They're playing Billie Eilish. We're both gonna try the carrot cake.
Yeah, we have a good time. My family's still all over there too, but it's always nice to see the Bills doing well.
So that's the view from our balcony, right? But the balcony view of me. Well, y'all, we are setting sail. It is our last day in Alaska, or more like last excursion day of Alaska. Tomorrow night we'll be in Canada, so I don't know really the timeline of that, of when will be when. So I'm gonna go explore the ship because that is what I wanted to do today, and I'm so tired. So it's kind of good that we kind of tried to decide to have the American diner earlier, because we went on this level and now I know that all of this is here, which I have not checked this out. This is cool. This is actually cool. Yeah. Hello. Whoa. Get ready. And it's cool because the floors are like this. I'm scared they're watching me. I think they saw that I was taking a selfie. Oh, that's so funny. Don't stare at me. They were really fun, but that's cool. Imagine playing arcades and this is your view. But it is really cool in here, and they were really fun. But now I just want to escape. Y'all will be in my book, so watch out. Y'all will be in my vlog. So. YouTube. It's under Faye, so it's Faighe. It might be a few weeks until it's up because there's a lot of fun.
In my face.
I'm gonna.
Yes.
Is it okay if I write it down?
Yes.
Can you write it down?
Yes. That's funny. They asked me for my YouTube channel because I said you're gonna be on my vlog, so they're gonna see this part too. They're fun. That's nice. I'm awkward. So I guess the time change just happened because it was 6:35 and now it's 7:35. So now I'm afraid that I missed part of Lemon Duo's. But if I'm late, it's like, hey, I have all night. Because I was like, wait, it's 7:35. So now I hope I didn't miss part of their set, but it's okay. I have all night, and it's good that I came earlier than later. But I'm hoping that I can just chill in the lounge with them and they sing, and maybe I'll write in my travel journal. And then if they are singing in the Sugar Cane Mojito Bar, that I can go there too, and maybe there's food and I can eat. But yeah, that was one of my highlights of today. There's been a lot of highlights today, but that's one of them where I walked into the galaxy. And of course, I know the girl. I just know that she was not making fun of I was taking selfies. It was just fun. Okay, so I just walked by and it says the ship's time is 6:37, so I guess we'll see what's going on. So they have not started yet. So that's good, but I got really warm and I was like, I feel weird sitting here. I don't feel like it's time yet, which is a good instinct because I went and checked what other levels. I haven't really checked out like a room or so, which was the main room, deck six, which has like the internet cafe and like a library and stuff. So I do the elevator, I'm out of the elevator. You know who I run into? A good coincidence is Faith from earlier, and she looked stunning. She had like a purple necklace on. I'm like, I'm wondering if purple's her favorite color, and it is. And she's like, before that, she was like, oh, you're wearing my favorite dress, because I was showing her my long hair earlier at the excursion. She was like, that's a lovely dress, and now I'm wearing it. So it's lovely. It's lovely. It's one of those people that I love to death too. So, but I'm gonna go back to the observation lounge. Hopefully I get some water. So earlier I was writing in my journal and I knew that this was gonna happen in the trip. My ink and my pen ran out, so I asked the bar if I could borrow it. I was like, I promise I'll give it back. Oh my goodness! A bar turned into a baby dance. the funniest thing happened. I'm at that bar and I'm like, you know, grandma's asking and texting me about, I think, wanting the buffet and getting ready, and I was like, it closed at 9 p.m. And she was also saying earlier, texting me of how it's like still dark out, right? Which I thought was kind of weird. She texts me like 30 minutes later and she texts me of how she's like on deck like on the elevator for 14 and now on deck 15, and I said, do you want me to meet up with you? She said yes. I come down there, she's making a cup of coffee. Hey guys, it's Taylor here. I was not able to finish that recording to tell my story back then because I just keep getting nervous when I am in front of other people, and I was just kind of on the go. I should have just sat somewhere and talked. So I go to see her and she's making a cup of coffee, and then we go and sit down at the observation lounge. Plus it was kind of weird that she was in the observation lounge and not with the buffet area, so it's kind of weird. And then we're sitting there and she just says how it's weird how not a lot of places are open for breakfast right now. And I'm like, I pause and I'm like, wait, do you think it's breakfast time right now? It was not. It was like 9:30 or 10 p.m. It was so freaking funny. We just kept laughing even on our way back to the room. What's funny is she even changed her outfit like into an actual outfit. She thought it was like that in-between state, like 5 a.m. before morning, because she also was like napping for hours before that. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So I'm really tired. I've been tired since like 3 p.m. and right now it's 10, 11 p.m. No, more like 12 a.m. and I'm so tired and I have to pee. I'm going to pee.